Yeah. All right, solid. There we go. All right, welcome everybody. We'll start with a question of the day. Let's do a simple one. Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, we can do this. Why not? So, question of the day today is, what are your three go-to items if you go to a mom and pop store? Like if you go to a store, what are the three items? Or like what are the items? Maybe it doesn't have to be three exactly, but what are the items that you're gonna get for sure if you go? If you're going to the store. I'll start out. Let me think about this. I think dang, this is a hard question actually, now that I'm thinking of it. I'm gonna say probably like an iced tea, like a little homemade iced tea or like something like that. Um, my daughter really likes I'll get one thing for her. She really likes the what's it called? Like um she likes anything sweet, but lately she's been really liking Tic Tac. I showed her Tic Tac. She really likes it. It's like her little candy, and it's like not that bad. I'll get that. And then my girlfriend, she really likes there's like the Japanese chocolate candy with like a stick on it, or whatever, like a little stick with like a tree. She really likes that. So I'd say those are gonna be my three things I'd probably get. That when I went to the store, that's like what I got just recently. Junior, I'll kind of get pass it over to you.
Shoot, so I'll imagine myself. I get up early and I make my way down to Chodi's. So I got to get a caffeine. So always got Mr. Brown, the blue one, the Blue Mountain. Got to get two of those because one for me and one for the wife, right? But lately I've been drinking these Celsius because it's better on sugar, but probably 10 times worse because of all the other stuff. So I got to get the caffeine. Got to get an empanada, right? Got to get that one that's I like the spicy one, right? Got to get that. So you got to get the protein with that, and then the last one is probably a toss up, like egg sandwich or buchi buchi. So, and worst case, just get more, right? Because someone will eat the stuff that you get, right? And yeah, happy days with that. Let's go round. What you got?
Definitely on the caffeine part in the morning, yeah, for sure. But usually like I guess before work or after work, depending. Always a drink, either caffeine. I go with the Monster Java, the coffee one, or the just the lemon water. And then this is usually after work. I'll just get like something pickled, like pickled eggs or the actual pickled mango, papaya, just for snacking or some side for the dinner. And then, hmm, hmm. I guess the third one would be like in general for the house, like a six pack of Aloha or some coconut water. Okay, pass it on to Matt.
Super. It was a mom. Super. Mom sounds. Chili's. Somebody will like. I guess also. Got you. Yeah, yeah, I see that, Junior. Um, we'll fix that. Thank you. Okay, so shoot, I think my daughter's getting here. So as I mentioned, for the first 30, 45, maybe an hour, we'll see. I want us to continue working on the project yesterday. And so I actually did also add a bonus just now. The bonus, if we get to it, I'm not worried if we do or don't, but the bonus is going to be to add the functionality to only view watched or unwatched movies. But for the time being, I want us to make sure we first finish everything else. And so I'm gonna actually let you guys, we'll just use this room since it's just a group of three. And yeah, you guys are good to kind of share your screen and continue with that. And I'll be right back. Sorry, I hear my daughter.
Hey, Rob, were you able to finish from yesterday?
No, I think we got, where did we get to? Actually, hold on. Let me just share my screen and I already forgot. I already forgot. It's a lot
Good.
of lines of code, you know.
So, man, Matt was able to um take like the lead and everything, and I think we kind of got something that works. But man, I'm like you, like I'm looking at it and I'm just like, man, I'm kind of so I'm trying to rewrite the whole thing that we did yesterday. But I'm thinking, you know what might be good is if we look at where you're at, and then we try and construct your own, and then I'm thinking that'd be a good idea. What do you think, Matt? Because
Yeah, well, like we'll all just go hands on.
yeah, like with what you created, because I think the stuff that Matt has, it right, it works, right, Matt? Everything? Yeah.
Like you guys finished the private, everything in the private what is it, method, function?
Yeah, I think did, right, Matt? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I know we had to go back and forth because what is it, the def or everything in the public corresponds with the private one. So we kind of had to like go back and forth to make sure they're all working. But let me
Mhm.
just try run this real quick and see how far we got with it. Where's this? Okay. CD. Okay, so we have that. Let's go one. Just put some random stuff, I guess. Oh shit. Okay, so movie added. Practice and save database.
Oh, so your save
240.
database, um, the save database is not working yet.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
right.
I don't know. Did I save this? Man, I really can't remember, but we did a bunch of stuff last night. We got it to number two. I think, yeah. But then I don't know. Let me just take a look at this again. Sure, if I close the file, 240, save database. Okay.
Oh, the on your 228, I think that one is supposed to be next to the do, right?
Let's go put it up. Okay, what else? 274. Watch list and movie title. 260. Okay, let me try run it one more time and see what that error was.
Oh, see, so it does load your stuff because it says it loaded the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does number 4 work? Oh yeah, so 4 works. So what was up with 1? If I close the file, I feel like it's something super small.
Yeah.
240. 240. Going back to
Undefined
this.
240.
Okay, so blah blah blah. Spigot rescue. This is supposed to be, yes, under insure.
Save database info. Hmm.
Okay, how did he do that? What you call it? Error handling again? Begin.
I'm thinking it's something with that file. Yeah, right, with file, right? Because it's white, right? It I think it's supposed to be like blue or something like that, or it's not reading it, or usually like
Man, I don't know.
if
It's
the thing
supposed to look like kind of like that, right?
and like maybe you have to
So do I just put
initialize.
it at?
I wonder if that'll work. Yeah. No, I
It
will
should.
shoot.
It's. I think it's still different. Hmm. File close. If file. What if I just delete this? Let's go see. Or I'll just comment this out.
Or I wonder if it's file name. Is that the name of the
Of this one?
yeah, so like the file dot write. So I'm wondering, is the file is it supposed to be file name?
Let's go try this one. Man, I don't know
Or
what the heck happened. Like it was it was working right before we got off last night.
or I think it's supposed to be file name dot close if file name or
No
something like that.
file.
Yeah.
If file.
Still that file.
Let me just try comment this out real quick. See what happens when I run it. Mhm.
Oh shoot, yeah, it's good.
Okay, so it works.
What about the view? Like the
Yeah, let's go 4. Okay, so it's in order. Oh yeah, I don't think we did number 3. Mark movie as watched. No database. We kind of did some stuff with it, but I don't even know how. I don't remember how we got here. Actually, let's go see. 3. 92 Mark watched. 6 watched, saved, enter your choice. 4. Oh, okay. Yeah, so I guess we finished it. This part.
hmm.
Like, are you guys using similar codes or like kind of different ones? Sorry, my screen is small. Can you see it okay?
Yeah, yeah. Man, honestly, like I was I was gonna type up that whole thing again, like from beginning to end, like even the loop part and everything, just so I could understand
Right, right.
what
Yeah.
was
It's, I
going
mean,
on.
we have the skeleton. Thank God we have it because it saved us more time.
Yeah.
But, like if we were to do it from scratch, like, we would actually get it more like the steps by the steps.
Yeah, see, like
Because for this one, we just use just movies.length. I remember he was gonna, I guess this was just optional.
yes.
And I'm not even too sure how to read this, to be honest. Okay, so what's the next part?
So everything, I think yours works then. Yours is good to go, yeah.
I think so. I mean, just gonna
Oh,
play around with it some more.
except that one file something, right? Like the one that is
Yeah,
comment.
I gotta figure out what was wrong with that. I mean, it just commented out, but I know I still need to put the or to close the file so my thing doesn't get messed up with all these open files. Where else did I put it? See,
Yeah, it's right there,
I didn't put
right?
it anywhere else here. I have no unsure anywhere else.
Let's see.
Did you want to just, I guess, look at it from the start to see if we have like something similar, or I mean, we probably don't have anything like some that are not the same, right?
Which which one was it that was erroring out? It was the man,
I
maybe I
was
could
the file close.
ensure, right?
Yeah. Right over the save database. Right here. So
Oh yeah.
file open and
Oh,
then
there. I think okay, so right before your file dot open, I think you're supposed to declare that as the variable. So file equals file dot Oh, or wait.
File dot.
Oh, wait, hold on. Man, I don't want to.
I
Maybe
think
Oh no,
not
no,
that's
do a
we can
GitHub.
mess around with it.
No, push that through because it's kind of working to your GitHub.
What do you think, Matt?
uh
Oh shoot,
so
you're
I think
echoing.
like right under begin, it should be
Hmm.
file equals. So like behind the file, no, like behind the file, like the green.
Hmm.
Yeah, right there. I think it's file, like lowercase file equals space or space equals space file out of it.
And then I could do the
And then
rescue here, right? Or the ensure
I'll go with
to close it.
drawings.
Actually, I don't think
Um,
we didn't even put a loop on that, huh, Matt? So we just did file equals file dot open at file name, comma W. And then that was it. We didn't even put the do loop.
Hmm. Because this one, I guess for us, it overwrites the. I mean, yeah, ours just saves. Am I explaining this right? Yeah, it just overwrites whatever's in the JSON folder or.
Yeah. So I don't think you need to like loop it because it's just one variable. So I think if you delete the do on the file with the lines,
Mhm.
yeah, if you delete that, so then there, and then you delete the end that goes with it, like with that file. So the one on 233, if you delete that, yeah. And then on 232, just move that file thing to the left a couple times. So it's like in that begin part. Yeah, two times to the left. Yeah. So then that's the begin. Then you got your rescue. Then you got ensure. And then on 244, you can put file dot close if file.
Oh, I don't know. I keep putting close. If file.
Mm. That, yeah. See, yeah. Even Matt saying, I think that's good.
Shoot. So 5 to close it out. And run it again. Nice.
Yeah. There you go.
And this is pretty cool. Like this is pretty solid stuff. Like, I think
Yeah.
it's super cool. Like how you can save it now. Like you exit this whole watch list menu, and you can still access it.
Yeah.
I think that
Like,
part is super cool.
where's the file actually? Like that it's accessing. Like,
Oh, that's right here. Yeah.
nice.
So here's all the movies saved. It's crazy.
That's freaking legit, man.
Wow, this is crazy stuff.
Git add period. Push that up.
What was the next portion?
I think he was I don't know if he posted it. I forgot what he was saying. You're saying something
Oh, he said
we're gonna
add
make
the
it
functionality to only view watched movies or only view unwatched movies. So we're gonna private to only view watched movies.
so everything else is gonna be private then,
Yeah,
except watch movies.
yeah, watched movies or view unwatched. Eh? Where's view unwatched? Or was watched?
Hey, stop upsetting your sister. Well, tell Neng to stop.
So I guess we just add everything to the private portion, except was it this one? Sorry, you're muted.
There we go. Bonus. Add the functionality to only view watch movies or only view unwatched movies. So I think that makes everything else is private except the view, right?
Yeah. Ding, mark watch. So everything but this.
I think so, yeah. So like everything above that needs to be
We just
private.
shift it all
Yeah,
under
that's what
the
I'm thinking,
private.
right? Yeah,
Yeah. So just go try
thinking.
that.
Hey, sorry guys, let me take care of something real quick.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Your thing. What do you think, Matt? Does that look cherry? So I moved everything but this to the private. And then it's not letting the user access it because it's in the private method. Or is it supposed to only show like number 4? Like once you load this menu, like is it only supposed to show like number 4? What do you guys think?
It's kind of like it it'll have to say like number one, add movie, maybe parentheses not available, remove movie by
Yeah,
ID not available, something like
not
that, right?
available in your country, right? And some crazy shit
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Because right now it works. I mean, the the listing is still here, but they can't access it. But is that how it's supposed to be structured? Add
Wow,
functionality.
it's almost kind of like you have to create an if, right? Like if they pick one, two, three, you have to say not available or something like that, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That sounds actually pretty good.
Sorry, man, my kids are going nuts.
No,
Let me
no,
just
you're good. You're good. You're good. They're getting excited. It's Friday. That's why. Okay. Dude, I'm just gonna grab some water real quick.
Okay. Sorry about that. Um, okay. So how is it going?
Pretty good. I think we went through um me and Adrian's code, and then we did the adding, removing, marked watched or unwatched, or marked watched, viewing, and then exit for it to save. And then down here we're trying the bonus, and I guess we're just wondering like because right now it doesn't give them access to anything else but number four.
Yeah.
And I guess we were just wondering like are we going to structure it where it just shows view movies on the menu once it loads?
Mm-hmm.
So I know Junior was saying maybe we'll throw in like a if method somewhere.
So I think there's different ways you guys can do it. Um, Off the top of my head, for example, you could be doing like six and seven would be theoretically view watched or view unwatched. Or you could make view movies so the person does four, and then from there it's like, okay, do you want to view all of them? do you want to view only the watched ones or do you want to view the unwatched ones? So basically, there's going to be a condition there that is kind of up to you guys on how you guys want to structure it. And then from there, it'll do something different based on what it is the user selects. Is it going to show everything like what you have right now? Is it going to show only the watched ones or only the unwatched ones? And so there's different things I get, or maybe those are the two main things I'm thinking of. And so now it's kind of, I want to leave that up to you guys on how, and kind of as a group to kind of collaborate to figure out how do you guys envision this working and what do you guys want to do for it?
So
Oh, okay. So like adding on to this, basically. That's one way.
yeah, if they pick four, right, the view movies, then it'll ask like another question. It goes, do you want to see the watched or unwatched? Is that
Kind of, yeah. Watched, unwatched, or all. So the all would be like everything that you guys have right now. Unwatched would be obviously the movies that are only marked as unwatched, and watched are only the ones that are marked as true for watched, basically. Yeah. So it could be kind of like three different options there that you guys could kind of mess around with to see, you know, yeah.
okay?
It's kind of like you're doing a filter or a sort in a sense, you know. Yeah. What are you guys thinking? What's going on in you guys' head? What you guys got thinking?
Off the top of my head, I'm thinking it's like what you have in the beginning, the loop do when one, two, and three. Option one, like if they pick option one, um, we do um, something watch list dot something that checks to see if it's watched. And if it's equal to that watch, then it prints. And then if they pick two, it's kind of like loop this and check to see if it's unwatched. If it's unwatched, uh, then print. And then the third one will be just all, just print the whole thing. Like those are the three scenarios I'm thinking.
I like
There
that.
it would use the find. There we go. Right? There we go. Or no, because that wouldn't loop.
So find does loop. Um, so like technically M, that M right there is going to be each movie in that movie's array. So like the first time through the loop, whatever the first one is, the second one, etc. Um, and so technically one thing you could do is change this find. You see how it's kind of like it's a one-liner right now? You could change it to be um basically you can change it to be the like a regular loop in a sense. Um basically instead of it being wait, what would the syntax be? Let me look here. I'm gonna do this. See. I mean, right off the top of my head, instead of doing the dot find, we're not looking for any like we could change or my recommendation is to change the loop to instead of it being oh, I'm sorry, why are we on I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be on Mark Watch. Let's go to the view basically or whatever. Like how we the one to see all of them. View all or whatever. I don't remember what's the name of the function. It'll be up, not in the private above all these.
I gotta remember to move these because we actually um put everything in the private.
Got you.
This one?
Yeah, yeah, perfect. This one right here. Yeah, so right here. So perfect. You're already doing an each loop to loop through all the movies and you're printing out the movie. So now the question to you is how are you going to make it so that way, depending on what the user chooses, you're only going to show them movies that are watched or unwatched or all of them. So right now you have all. How could you add a there's honestly I'm like off the top of my head, I already have like two or three different places where you could possibly implement this, but I want you guys to kind of think about it with each other for how you would implement it here. And so the first thing I'd recommend you guys do is see how can you figure out whether or not a movie has been watched or not. Like how can you see that? And I'm going to recommend doing it somewhere between this each loop. So how can you print out specifically whether or not something was watched? Like how can you check that? And then from there, once you can get that value of whether or not a movie is watched or not, then you can write a condition based on that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I'm guessing. So I'm just thinking or just brainstorming here. I guess in this function or somewhere here, we're gonna do another function for watched and unwatched.
You could do a function, you could do another function, or you could just do the logic all in here. Completely up to you on how you guys want to do it. By all means, if you want to write another function for it or functions for it, you can. Um, yeah, it's up to you.
Hello. Hello. Oh, so I have something like this. Hmm, This one. Is it sharing?
Yes.
So I have like it's like this, because I put puts and then in parentheses hashtag the curly brackets index plus one and then period and then the movie's ID and then the movie's title and then I put watched. So if we if I try it out, it's like if I add a movie, mm, then Harry Potter 2, and then if I mark it as watched, and then if I view it, it tells me like if it's watched or not.
Solid. I like that. Because so what we can clearly see here to me is that we can see whether or not a movie is watched or not, given this specific syntax right there. So with that being said, now how are you guys going to potentially write a condition that's going to make it so if the user wants to only see the watched movies, it's only going to show the ones where watched is true, for example, or watched is false. Or for all of them, it's not going to check that at all. Again, there's many different ways you guys can do it, but I think this is on the right track. Already you can see that you can get the data. Now it's just a matter of how are you going to filter this to or like put a condition so that way it does what you want it to do. And so that's kind of where I want you guys can talk through and try to figure that out.
Where would we give the option to the user to select what they wanted to? view. Will we go back to the original loop, like when one, when two, or like say we would go to the when four view movies, we would add another question in there.
You could, but I think maybe even before we even get to that, let's actually, I don't know, maybe that's a good thing to think about. Unless we can get that working, there's different ways we can think about it. And so I think you could add that logic in here. Like you could add another like gets.chomp or another prompt basically. It'll be like, hey, what do you want to see as a user? Do you want to see everything? Or yes, of course, you could add it at the bottom area where like what you're saying. Either or would be completely fine. It's completely up to you and how you guys want to handle that. Um, so what is the easiest way that you guys can think of? And to me, that's going to be my recommendation. Try that out.
I think it may be easiest to just put it in the list movies and not touch that whole the
So like
you know,
the main menu screen.
yeah, like let's not mess with the main menu screen. Like we just put it in the function, so like where it says on line 109, maybe we put a puts and says which one do you want to watch, or which one do you want to list? Question mark. Watched,
Watched
unwatched.
or unwatched.
Yeah, like one for watched, two for unwatched, or three for all, or something like that. I don't know how we would word it. And then we do a gets dot chomp choice. Choice is equal to gets dot chomp.
I like the way you're thinking. And honestly, how you want to word it is however you guys want to word it, to be honest. This is kind of the pros or the power of, you guys are the ones coding it. So like whatever you want it to say, you guys can just have it say it. So however you guys want to word it, it's completely up to you.
I say we put it like something like one, two, and three. So that way when they input it, it's just on the choice, it's just equals gets dot jump dot to under slash I, and that's it. Like we don't need to check the whole string, right? It's simple for it. What do you guys think?
So can we do it like hmm,
Like what would it look like if you went to say line 109, and then just um say puts and then quotes, what would you like to see? If we type that out and then we go one to view, there we go. Watched, unwatched, or all. Yeah, watched, unwatched, or all, something like that. Yeah. And then maybe we can put like on the next parentheses, like after watched, we put a parentheses one, unwatched parentheses two, or all parentheses three. So like right after the word watch, we put a parentheses, put one, yeah, two, yeah. And then right after that, we go selection equals gets.chomp.to _I. So now we set up the variable for their selection. So selection, I don't know, I'm just making up a word or name for the variable. I don't know. I don't know if I want to use choice. I think choice would only, if we did it inside that function, it would only be with that choice. But I know we've used choice somewhere else, so like I don't want to confuse it with um other stuff.
Yeah, I think selection, user choice, any like any really anything. It you can use anything. Yeah, I think selection. Go ahead and just write out selection.
Are we still keeping it to a integer for the selection?
Solid. So now, how are you guys gonna make it so depending on what their selection is, you're going to make it something else, basically. View something else. View a different selection, I guess. Whatever. What are you guys thinking?
I have a question, Leon.
Yeah.
So is is it possible, like I know so on 113 it says if at movies is empty, we already gonna do that.
Mm-hmm.
Does for all the other if statements or the say like at 114, if we created an else if statement at line 114 and we said else if selection equals one, could we do that? Like we're doing a different kind of if statement. It has nothing like usually the way when I think about if statements, it's always going to check like if selection, or if selection, else if selection, else if selection, else. But this one would be weird. It's like if at movies is empty, do this, and then
Yeah,
else if
yeah.
but is that like proper or
I definitely get what you're saying, and I think in this case that would be fine just because or so I guess correct me if I'm wrong first. So we're gonna keep this the same, and then it's gonna be like else if selection is one, else if
yeah.
selection is two, else if selection's three, or just the regular else, basically. And what you're trying to say is like technically this first if and the rest of the else ifs aren't technically around the same condition in
Variable?
a sense or
Right.
variable. Yeah, they're not referencing the same thing. I think it's fine because it's like this is kind of like the
Catch
trump
the
card,
null.
I guess, whatever, in a sense. Like it's like, hey, if this fails, like it doesn't matter. Like there's no there's no way that any of these other ones on the bottom are going to be true if this one is true. Basically, this has to be false in order for us to do anything else.
Mm,
And so to me, that makes it kind of okay. That makes it fine. Like I don't have an issue with that.
okay. So I think what we could do is we could push down the 114, the line 114. We can push that down and we can just keep that as selection 3, right? Like that else statement addresses selection 3.
So we're adding like two more else ifs.
Yeah, so this else if will be else if. So the first else if, the condition would be else if selection equals, or like or double equals 1. So then that would, we would write whatever code needs to be there to show just the watched ones. But that's the part where I've, it'll be something like how would we write that? Like if we would do, it would be like a do loop, right? That checks the index watched if it's true. Like that's what we're trying to find. Everything that has an index watched true, we print it, right?
So in my head, there's a few different ways we could handle this. So for one, right off the back, I think I'm thinking of using different methods, but I think even more than that, I think using, for example, we did something here actually. Here, we did something before, and I'm gonna share this with you guys. Maybe because I'm trying to not like I don't want to like just give necessarily the answer per se, but I want to like lead you guys to it. And so there's something that we did before. Let me find it real quick. I think it was in file IO where I did a uh conclude. Yeah, this one. I like this one actually. Okay. So I'm gonna share this in exercises. And I want you guys to take a look specifically at here, and I'll just share my screen real quick as well. So here, let me pull this up. Here. So what I want you guys to take a look at this line specifically. So in this line, it doesn't need to be this includes, but I want you to see how I'm filtering. I'm only going to show the lines. So what this does, Ruby file IO. So what this line is doing, what this condition is doing is I'm only going to show the lines that include a specific condition. That's the only time that I'm doing this, and I'm incrementing I. It's not going to be the same exact thing for you guys, but it could be something very similar. Or for you guys, instead of, for example, I'm going back, sorry, I'm stop sharing. I'm only have one monitor right now. So instead of, for example, showing all of the movies, like basically you can use the same exact logic, and instead of showing all the movies, you're showing it where only the ones where a condition is true, if that makes sense. That's one way that I'm thinking of it. There's definitely many different ways to do it, but that's one thing that I'm thinking of how you could do it. Does that make sense, or does that kind of where my head's going?
One file dot each line to line. So would it be, yeah, it's at movies dot each underscore line do.
Not necessarily line. It's going to be that each line was specific to that one because we were dealing with the files and each line of that file that we were reading. It would be a
Oh,
regular each loop or each with index. It's up to you.
Do. So like if watched dot includes true, that or watched
What about it if watched equals true?
watched equals true.
Double equals, as in like checking the like if it's equivalent. And it wouldn't be watched necessarily because so actually let's change that to be let's do the same thing that we do on line 121. It'd be movie and I technically because we have a move we have like a movie object and we have an index. So let's change that from watch to movie. It's okay that we're using the same one for now. Just for this example. I want it because it makes because technically what we're dealing with is a movie. And so if so I guess let's start with this. Comment this line out. Comment that line out first. And make sure you put your end because you have a loop. And then you need one more end. Yeah. And then go ahead and comment that out and just print out what the movie is. I want you to do uh so go ahead and tab wait. So go ahead and delete 118 now. Delete 118. Yeah. So I want you to print out what I want you to do P movie in within that loop. I want you to print out what each movie is. Okay. And so now let's run our code. Go ahead and do exit it. Yep. And you don't need to recreate it because this is loading all of your data already.
Mm.
Okay, cool. So we have an issue. So okay, cool. Yeah, that was perfect. Right there. Yeah, go ahead and run it again. Solid. So yeah, we can see your movies are loaded already. So you don't need to create any. So let's just view. Let's just do the view. All right, cool. So go ahead and scroll up a little bit. So we can see you did one, which is right, because that's what we're trying to test. And then from there, we can see each movie. By movie, I'm saying this word movie right here is going to be a movie. So now how can you check, how can you grab true or false now?
Go movie bracket watched. Would that be it?
Yep. Pull it on the other side. Okay. So now turn it off, restart it, and try this again. And let's see what happens. Okay, cool. So now we can see that we have access to whether or not a movie's watched. So now it's about, I'm going to filter based on that data right there.
Mm.
How are you going to write some condition or some code that is going to filter only the movies that are watched, where watched is true, basically?
So what we just inserted, it'll be if movie bracket watched equals true, then puts, oh shoot.
Yeah, no, you're right on the, to me, you're right on the right track. If this condition is true, basically, yeah, like what you're doing right there, but you're going to have to add the same thing. Then you can just pretty much do the same exact thing you're doing down here. Right? Because all we're doing is printing out the movie now. We already checked, we're already filtering based on our condition So now it's just about showing it to the user.
Hmm.
So go ahead and comment that line out, Matt. Yeah. And then you got to put your end since you have a condition. You got to put a end. Go ahead and tab that one in and tab that one in. Both of them in one time. Because so we yeah, there you go. So we can see that this end is for this condition. This movies each loop has an end right there as well. Okay, so now just grab this line of code, grab the whole thing, and we're gonna copy and paste it right there. Because we already have the logic for it.
Mm,
So why rewrite it, you know? It's like why redo that? Okay, so try this code out now, Matt. Bam! That looks like it's doing something. Okay. So now, based on this, I want you guys to implement unwatched by yourself and try to figure out, work together on this. And I'm actually just gonna go grab something real quick. I'll be right back.
okay.
So it'll be else if selection equals 2, then add movies dot with index do movie this, and then and if movie I'm guessing it'll be false.
I think it, yeah, that's right. Equals false. Yeah.
And we put this in as well. Or hmm, I don't know if we put this one in. Mm, hmm.
Hold on, guys. I'm just gonna check something real quick. I'll be back.
Yep,
Did I say run it, man? I think
run it. Okay, I'll try. Oh, wrong one. Uh, 4, and then 4, and then 2.
yeah.
Yeah, it works.
Nice.
Hmm.
Nice. See that idea that you did when it shows the status of the video
Mhm.
on the at the end? That was champ. Like, yeah, yeah. That's a winner.
So do we also have to put uh hmm, to view all? Like, do we
So
have to do?
yeah, that's right. So that else, I think else covers if they put three, right? Or if they put four, it'll just show. I mean, I guess we could put else if
Oh,
and then
okay, yeah. Well,
yeah.
there you go.
I
Shows it
think
right
I think the only thing that will go weird is if they input like say four, it will show everything because everything that's not one or two is
there. Mhm.
covered in else. So like, I mean, yeah.
So cancel the number three or
I think, I mean, I think if we put like a else if um selection is equal to three, then we just that it's that last one, and then like else say pick one, two, or three or something like that. But it would have to loop back in, right, into something. I'm not exactly sure. Because I think I'm thinking if we go back to that screen and we say we input a five, we select five, it'll print everything. It'll print all because it's if one, if two, and if it's not those two, anything else that you input, it's gonna input the last part.
Hmm.
But I mean, I know there's probably ways like later on that you can limit the input.
So I think this is solid. I don't have any issues with it. If you did want to make it, let's say, so-called better in a sense, you could make 126 an else if, and then you could do another else at the bottom and basically say else invalid number or invalid input or whatever. That way, technically, you're listening out for one, two, and three. Anything else other than that is invalid. You cannot do that. Because that's technically what we're doing in most of our other things. Yeah, so if you guys notice, like for example, even in the loop do, the last else is basically saying, wait, Matt, go ahead and put that up one. So wait, be careful. Delete both of those lines. So yeah, so I want you to take a look at where that end is. So this is the end for this else if. So that means that you don't need to add another end. There's an end there already. You just need to add the else. But yeah, so once he's done with this, you guys can see, for example, in the loop do, if the user enters any other number besides 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then we're basically giving them a message to say, hey, that's an invalid input or whatever it is, whatever it is that you want to put to kind of satisfy that, like, hey, we're like, what if something else happens? Yeah, many different ways to handle it, but this is one of them. Solid. So now I'd say test it out. Make sure that you can do one, make sure you can do two, make sure you can do three. Test out what happens when you do four or five or a letter. Try to break it basically. And so this is like the way in the real world, I would be like, okay, cool, let's try to break our code because so the way to think about like this stuff is like imagine there was a million users using your software. That one in a million thing that might not happen is going to happen. It's literally a one in a million chance. You got a million users. Like, so someone's going to get to it. So your job is to figure out how can I break it to figure out all these different edge cases so that way the users aren't going to end up breaking it themselves in a sense. That's the way that I'm thinking about it. Once I have it done, it's like, okay, cool. Now let me see, like, what do I need to account for? Solid. Cool. So what do you guys think about this? What do you guys think? How you guys feeling?
I like it.
It's
super
not,
cool.
yeah, it's not something that you could just kind of put together. It's like you really gotta build. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's cool, this is more like a real application in a sense. In the sense that like, there's a lot going on in here. There's really a lot. It's like we have to figure out how are we going to save the data? How are we going to load the data every single time if there's data? From there, it's like we have to allow the user to add stuff to the data or to like our database in a sense and cover for all these different things. It's like, what if they want to view only a specific thing or whatever? And so there's a lot of things happening here. And so that's why I'm really, really emphasizing doing one thing at a time and testing it out thoroughly and then moving on to the next. And not just being like, okay, cool, let me just implement all of it. Because if we were to even like, for example, me, if I was just going to write out all this code at one time and try to just trust that I'm doing it right with no issues and then run it at the end, I'm going to be running into a lot of issues, I'm sure, because there's just so much going on that we shouldn't be trying to make ourselves to remember each thing or whatever. It's like, let's just do a little bit. All right, cool, on the next. And so this is in the real world, this is the way it's going to be, is because there's definitely a lot going on. And so it's like trying to scope it down to working on one thing at a time in a sense. Because yeah, there's a lot going on here. And it's really cool though. I think you guys should be really proud. And um I think this is a really cool project. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a quick 10-minute break. I know we didn't take one yet, so we'll come back at 7:36, and then we're gonna move on to the next thing, which I want to move on to APIs. We'll do a kind of intro to APIs and stuff like that. All right, cool. See you guys in 10. All right, welcome back, everybody. Okay, so mm, 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 mm. All right, I'm gonna share my screen. Solid. All right, so we're kind of wrapping up Ruby this week. So next week we can start on Rails. Specifically, it's going to be Ruby on Rails, and we'll go into more depth of what Rails is exactly. But before we do that, we are going to go through this idea of an API. So API is actually a very important term to understand or to at least know. So API stands for, here, I'll do this. It stands for application programming interface. And so an API, I'm gonna go through what my notes says, like the notes I have on it, and then I'll give you kind of like my what I feel to be a better description of it. So an API or application programming interface is like a messenger or middleman that lets different software programs talk to each other in a structured way. So if you have an application running, more than likely there's an API that it's hitting. Whether or not it's its own API or it's using someone else's API is kind of that's what is we don't know necessarily. For example, Instagram to display the data to get the data to that page, they're pinging some API to get all of the data in their back and like in their API, get the data from the API and then display it on the page. Um, and so actually, an analogy that I have here is we can think of it kind of like a let's see. We can think of it kind of like a restaurant menu. So you don't go to the kitchen yourself. Instead, you're going to use a menu to request the dishes you want. Similarly, you're not going to poke around inside some company's database. You're going to use their API to order specific data or perform specific actions. And so the idea is that there's some data here. Let's say there's some data on this computer here in this database. You're not going to be able to just grab that data and use it. You're going to talk to this middleman, this API so you're going to make a request to the API, and then the API then is going to be like, okay, cool. Does this person have access to it? Yes, they do. All right, let's go ahead and give them that data. And a lot of times it's going to be that JSON. So specifically, it'll be a JSON a lot of times. Another thing is, so for example, the weather app on your phone. The weather app on your phone more than likely is calling a weather API behind the scenes, passing in like your location. The API is then going to respond with the temperature, humidity, whatever, and it's going to show that it's going to give it back to that application so it can show it on your phone or whatever it is, you know. And so that's really the idea of this API. Okay. So the next thing, before we build our own API, we're going to use other people's APIs today, specifically. And so we're going to be using something called, or we're going to be using this concept of like fetching data. So fetching data from an API is going to be basically like, we're going to make a request. We're going to ask this API or this computer for some data, and it's going to respond with some data back because we requested for it. And oftentimes that data that's being sent back is JSON, kind of like what we've been doing here. So it'll look kind of something like this a lot of times, or like this, etc. Or not that one, but like this, etc. Yeah. Let's see. Mm. Yeah, so let's go through an example actually, where we are going to write an API request. We're going to write some code in Ruby to make an API request to fetch some data from an API. So we're going to have to require a couple things. The first thing we're going to require is net HTTP, and we're going to basically be using this to make the API request. And then the other thing that we're going to require is JSON because we're going to be formatting And we're going to be getting it in JSON format and using this to format it and so on and so forth. All right. So now there's actually not a lot of lines of code to write now. So for example, I'm going to do URL equals. Actually, we don't even need to do that. Actually, let's just do this. Response equals, and we're going to go net colon HTTP dot get, and then we're going to pass in some URL. So for example, I'm going to grab this one that I have that I know works. And I'm just going to paste in some URL. And then from there, now I can go data equals JSON.parse that response. And then now I'm just going to do PP. If we remember, PP stands for pretty print that data. So now let me go here. I'm going to go Ruby API.rb. Let's see, what is this error? Undefined method. Where is this from? Did I misspell HTTP? Net/HTTP. I think I literally just did this. Let me do this one instead. I think it's this. Sorry about that. Let's go URL, and I'm going to do what I was originally going to do this. Let's run this again. Solid. Okay. So I had to format it in this URI. And URI, what does that stand for again? How did I forgot what URI stands for. I just had it. What is URI? We'll go through that, whatever. I'll look up that later. So the way this is working, so we can see there's some data here, and maybe let's use a different, I'm going to use a different API to give you guys a better example. Yeah, this one should work. I'll do this one. So there's like APIs for like everything. So one of the free ones I found is this Pokemon API. So here's this Pokemon API. So basically somebody created a database and an API that contains a lot of information about Pokemon. With that being, and they made it public for anybody to kind of just use as they want. So with that being said, I can make a request to their API that they created, and I can get some data about that specific Pokemon or with their Pokemon data. So let me see. Yeah, okay, cool. So we can see this is structured, this is JSON. So it's a hash. You can see it says there's 1,300 different requests. From there, we can see there's like this next thing, previous results, etc. And we can see there's all these different Pokemon that we can kind of probably grab more data about. And so I just wanted to show you guys a different example, but I like to start out, I like this example better. This is a lot simpler. So basically someone created this JSON placeholder. It's kind of like fake data. You'll see that a lot of people use this thing called lorem which is, I think technically it's Latin, but it's just they use it as like to create some fake information. That way you're filling up space. But we can see that this specific data or this request returned a response of user ID 1, ID 1, title is some title, and it has a body. So like kind of like a description kind of thing. And so that's what this request returned, I guess, in a sense. It's a response that it returned. And so the way this, like the kind of flow of the way this works is we wrote this code that we created this URL and we have to use this URI. I forgot the exact reason. I'm going to look it up and I'll give you guys an answer after I have you guys try it out. But basically, we have this URL. This is an API. This JSON placeholder is an API that someone created. It's online. And so we're basically saying, hey, I want to get some data. I want to make a GET request to your API to get the first post. So we can see it's post 1. So more than likely, I want to get the first post. And from there, then I want to parse it and print it out. And so that's kind of the way it's working. That's really what's happening. And so this isn't something that we have to just do in Ruby. Like I could paste this same URL in, and just to show you guys, I could paste this same URL in the browser. And we can see here's that data. Like someone just has some public information available for anybody to see here on like if you know where to look basically. And so a lot of times this is the way these things work is you have some application that is an API that is going to be holding some data that is going to allow different places or different people to make a request to get that data. That's the idea of an API. It's kind of like this. There's a lot of different things going on with an API, but this is one of the big things with an API. Um, and I think it'll make more sense when we start building our own API, what we can actually do with it and like what it means to build an API or like what more things that you can do with an API. But I guess for now, questions, comments about these lines of code or what we're doing here to make this information appear here. Okay, cool. So let's do this. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, 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 mm. We can go through the different types of requests later. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you guys real quick is this is just a hash. With that being said, can somebody help me figure out how can I print out just the title? What if I just wanted to print out the title? How would I do that? What do you guys think? Anyone have any ideas on how I'd print out the title? We can see
You
here's
do
a it's like good.
like P space data bracket um the colon title. I don't know. I'm guessing there.
No worries. Nil. Why is it nil? You're really close. I'll give you that.
Is it I remember you saying something like it it's a string or something like that. There's a conversion that needs to happen like from symbol to string. Does it have something to do with that or
Yeah. So technically, it's right here. The data that we have, we're not converting it from, let's do this. Yes, basically. So if you remember when we did, now I want to show you, what was it? Symbolize name. When we do this symbolize name, we're converting. So basically this right here, symbolize name colon true. When we parse the data and we basically add this line, symbolize names colon true, we're converting the hashes from the string syntax to the symbol syntax. We're basically symbolizing it. We're making it turn into a symbol. And so technically, there's different things we could have done, but one way right off the back is to just add some quotes. Now, if we run it again, we can see there's the title. Or
Mhm.
I think I could have done this. And if I change this back to p data title. Yeah, okay. Could have done either or. So I could have added this, or I could keep with the way that the data is already structured and just use the string.
Mm.
Completely up to you on which one you want to do. It's kind of your preference at that point. But yeah, okay. So now we know we can get the data basically. That's kind of what I wanted to get at here is we can get the data. And so let's go ahead and we'll go through a couple examples here. So like for example, if I wanted to print out the ID, it'd be like p data ID. And if I run it, where's my mouse? Cool, I can see there's one. Or if I wanted to print out the body, p data at body, I can see There's the body. And we can see there's a slight delay. Like when I do this, there's a little delay. It's not just immediate. The delay is small, but there is a delay there. And the reason there's a delay is because technically we're running the code immediately, but then our code here is making a request. It's like sending a request to something online, to some computer somewhere else in the world. And then that computer is then like, okay, cool, let me process that response. All right, cool, here, let me send back the data based on that person's response. And so we're pinging someone else's computer technically, and it's sending back some data based on that request. So it's a request and then it's a response. So we make a request, a GET request specifically, and then we're given a response back, which is this data. Okay. The other quick thing that I wanted to show you guys is a lot of times the way APIs work. So like this is some object. So more than likely, this is a post object. And then this is how to see one singular post. This is how to see the first post. If I change this to 2, more than likely, yeah, so this is now number 2. And if I print out the whole data, so we can see this is the post with ID of 2 now. If I change this to 3, it's probably the post with ID of 3, etc. And so a lot of times this is the way that APIs are structured, is it's like some object, some model. Technically, this is like a class, or more than likely there's like a post class, and then it's plural, and then it's like whatever is the ID. This would technically be like the show route, which we'll get into next week, actually, more detail. Okay. And then I showed you guys that we can grab the specific data, and we'll do one more quick example, and then I'm going to give you guys an exercise to try it out yourself, basically. Let's go ahead and grab, yeah, I'm going to grab that Pokemon one again. I like this Pokemon one because it's like there's so much stuff going on here. And by so much stuff, like if I run this, I need to do PP data. We can just see like, look at how much data there is here being returned. Like there's so much data. And so here right away, if you guys remember, I told you guys that there's a slight difference of when I would use like this terminal versus the built-in VS Code terminal. Right off the back, we can see I cannot even scroll back up. This is the max. The VS Code terminal has a limit to how much you can view. And so right off the back, this is where I would use this terminal. So I'm going to go like this, this. I'm going to go cd ... and this is in week 4. And now I'm going to run ruby api.rb. Perfect. So now we can see all of this data here. And I can scroll. Wait. Okay, right as I wait. No way. It's giving me a limit. What the heck is going on? Okay, hold up. Why is that giving me a limit? I haven't used iTerm in a while. Let's use this one. That's loading. Desktop, CSG, week 4, Ruby, API. Okay, cool. There we go. Here's where we can see the top of the data. That's what I was trying to do. The other one was actually limiting too. I was surprised that it was limiting me. But we can see this is like a lot of stuff. And so now what I'm going to challenge you guys to do in a second is figure out how am I going to, for example, get this name? What if I wanted this name Ruby right here? And it's really small, but here I'll enlarge it. So what if I wanted to print out Ruby right there? And so to be honest with you, I don't know the answer off the top of my head. I genuinely don't know. But the way that I'm going to think about this is the first data structure that I see, the first data type I see is a hash. So I see the first hash is technically abilities. So the first thing I would do is, okay, I'm going to go PP, and I can see it's a string. So I'm going to use the string syntax, abilities. If I run this code, cool. I can see it got me some data. But I can see that technically this Ruby is not a part of that specific data that I'm looking for. So let's go ahead and do this. So we can see abilities gave me this. Basically, the key is this. The value is all of that. So then the next one seems to be cries, and then forms, and then game indices. So I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to change this to be game indices. Dices. Yeah, and it uses an underscore. If I run this, solid. Okay, okay. It looks like we're getting closer. There's the Ruby now. So now, if I run this again, because I want to run it here because it's a little bit more readable, I'm going to make it bigger again. So we can see now that I'm in here, I'm like, okay, cool. So now what is this? This is an array. I know it's an array because I can see there's a start and end square brackets. So now I need to figure out what is the index that I can get to Ruby. So we got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now I'm going to go at the 6th index. Let's run it again. Solid. Okay, I'm getting even closer. Now I can see that this is game index, and this is a bunch of key value pairs, it looks like. So game index and version. So now it looks like the next, so because this is a hash, I can grab this key to go into the next level. So let me go into version. Run it again. We're getting even closer. Now it looks like I just need to grab the name. Name. Run it again. Bam, there's Ruby. And so this is actually how I would get, like, because I genuinely did not know the answer. Like, I didn't know the answer to what it exactly is that we're going to get here. But I knew how I'm going to slowly make my way to it. The first thing I'm going to do, if I don't know what the data looks like, print it out. All right, cool. What is the first structure? It's an array. All right, cool. So I just need to figure out, or it's a hash. I just need to figure out which hash is the first one that I'm going to try out. It's not that one. Let me try the next one. All right, cool. I'm able to get that. The next structure was an array. So I just need to figure out what index was it where my stuff was in. All right, cool. Index 6. The next one, okay, version. Next one, name, etc. And so really this was just a huge hash that I need to figure out how to parse, which is actually really cool. Um, okay. There's questions on this idea? It's pretty much kind of like something similar to what we've done before. Okay. I wanted to show you guys one more thing about this, but I'm just gonna give you guys an exercise to try it out yourself. Yeah, like this. The other quick thing I guess that I'll show you guys is another thing you can do is I could have looped through this data. So I know that this right here is an array. I know it's an array because we can see it starts with it. And so technically, I could have done this. I'll do this. I'll comment this one out. I could have done like data at game indices dot each do indice. I don't know. End, and then I could have gone like p indice. Now if I run this, we can see here's each indice. And so now I could grab like the version. And then I know already that it's after that it's going to be like name. And so this should print out all of the versions and all the names, for example. Just showing you guys like there's different things we could do to get the different data. I could have looped through it. And now I could like, if I wanted to, I could be like, puts, here's some of the version names. Oh, not there. Now if I run this, here's some of the version names, red, blue, whatever, 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 and so on and so forth. Just showing you guys like this different things that you guys can do depending on what it is that you're trying to do. And so now, that being said, let me share the exercise. Okay, let me go ahead and share the exercise. I don't like the way that's structured, but I'll fix it. Okay. Okay, sorry, 1 second. Stasi's asking me something. Okay, let me do this. 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 Okay, cool. So you guys' exercise is basically, I want you to choose a small free choose a free public API. I give you guys some examples, but really online, like you could literally just go like online and you just type in free APIs and like there's a bunch of them that you guys can go check out. So like if there's like an API that you're interested in, more than likely there's one for it, like free dog API, just to show you guys real quick. Okay, cool. There's this one. I'm gonna grab this URL and I'm gonna change the URL in here. I'm gonna delete that fetch. And let me make sure I'm printing out the response, pp data. If I run this, cool. Here's an image of a dog that it just gave me. Pretty cool. So like I could display that on a web page or whatever. And so the point I'm trying to make is I want you guys to choose an API. It could be one of them that we're using here, could be one that you want to use, up to you. And I basically want you to create a file and make some API requests to it. You're going to require the libraries like what I did here. We need this net HTTP to make the request and the JSON one to actually parse it. Construct the URL, parse the data, print out some of the fields, and run it. And if you want, whenever there's an array, you can loop through them, doing something like that, etc. Yeah, I just want you guys to try and mess around with this a little bit and print out some interesting things, see what you guys can do. Cool. So you guys are good to share your screen and try that out. Hey, Matt. So what you have there is solid. So now I'm gonna task you. I want you to figure out how can you get the name of the location. I want you to print that out. Figure out how are you gonna print it out? Citadel of the Ricks. I want you, that's my task for you. Nice, Ron. I like that you found a random joke. I like that you found a joke API. I mess around with those sometimes too.
So for this API, where'd it go? This 436, that's like 436 lines.
More than likely, that's the 436th joke. So similar to
Oh, okay.
like, remember how you guys had an ID in that last exercise that you guys were doing? And that ID was
Hmm.
just like a way to reference the different, like to keep track of how many are in there, basically, in a sense. Same, probably the same idea. I'm assuming, but that's the thing is that's their code. Ultimately, they could be using that ID in any way that they want. So that's my assumption, but I'm not 100% sure.
So like just to pull the first joke, I would do like a slash one here.
Not necessarily. So there are functions. So this random joke function seems like it just gives a random one. So like if you run it again, it'll probably give you another one, but not 436.
Yeah, because it's I did the setup and punchline, and then it's all just like different.
Yeah. So there's different, we'll say there's different. So this is technically this URL or whatever. This is technically called like an endpoint. There's different endpoints or URLs that you can send a request to. Oftentimes there are kind of like structured ones like the one that I shared with you where it's like, okay, it's going to be some object slash a number, and that'll give you one specific based on their ID, like that number. But there are other ones where it's not as structured and it's just giving you kind of like a randomized one where it's not like, and that's kind of the idea with this random joke, I'm assuming, is that they didn't want someone to be able to ping the exact same one. They wanted them to give them a different one every single time. So yeah, different APIs are structured different ways, but yeah, for this one specifically, it's not structured the same. And I know that. And I mean, you could try putting slash one there if you want, but I'm like 99% sure because of the way that they named it. If you'll notice, like the ones where we have like one, two, three, like where we can do that, it's named a specific way. It's like some object, and a lot of times it's plural. So it's like jokes. If there was slash jokes, then that's where I'd say like maybe try slash joke slash one or whatever. Yeah.
Also, to incorporate like a random, like
Hmm.
how would you say that, like a point random method in there?
Hmm. They more than likely this when you send a request here, it goes to their API and then it's like it goes to some function. That function basically returns some random joke and then it sends it back to us. That's the way it works.
Solid.
Yeah.
And I see what you mean about that lag. It's
Yeah.
real.
The whole reason is because there's steps that are going into it's not just like on your computer where you run it and it just happens immediately. It's like you're pinging someone's computer like across the world or whatever, in a sense. Like wherever that thing is hosted, you're pinging there. It's like, okay, let me think about it. Is this a valid response request? All right, it is. All right, cool. Answer it back. It's not just like immediate. Junior, you're really close. I like what you're trying to do. And actually, um, I was gonna say I was gonna make an exercise for everybody, but how can you get it to print out all of the episodes? Like not one by one, not in a loop, but how can you get it to print out just all of them? Like what is how would you do that? Like not disregarding the loop. Like I want you to print out the array of episodes, I guess maybe is a better way to phrase it. Okay. So solid, you're able to get one episode. And so what I want you to really pay attention to here is technically this is what you need to loop through. Because technically, disregarding this zero thing, the bracket zero, this right here is the array in a sense. Like that would technically, that whole thing is the array, if that makes sense. It's not just data. Data is a hash. It's data at episode. Yep, exactly. Solid. There you go. Solid, Matt. I like what you're doing too. And so kind of similar to what Junior did, I want you to figure out how can you loop through this loop of whatever this is, Pokemon or whatever it is, and print out each name. Like I want you to print out each name with a sentence. Like this Pokemon is blah blah blah, blah blah blah, whatever, 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 whatever. So that's what I want to task you. That's what I want you to figure out how to do. Where's your head at, Junior, with this? I see you're messing with it. Okay, yeah, yeah, try this out. Try that out. Try that out. There you go. Do you know what the issue was with where it was? Yeah. Okay.
So I was thinking it's every time it runs over, it reinitiates at
Mm-hmm.
1, 1, 1, 1. So I gotta put it.
Exactly.
I I wanted to do 0, but then I don't know if I could do this. Would that work?
Try it.
Initiated at 0.
Yeah, try it out. See what happens.
Okay. All right.
There you go.
Okay. Cool.
I like it. I
All
like
right.
it that you're messing around with it.
I was thinking that that would be a good way if they didn't number the episodes and you wanted to find a specific line.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you index.
Yeah,
All
most
right.
definitely you can do that.
Hmm.
There's a lot of different ways to do these things, and it's really cool though. Like we're getting, I really like Rails. Like I really, really like Rails and the way it works. And I'm excited to go through with you all. And actually that's instead of doing any other things today, which that we could have, I kind of for the rest of the class after this, I want to show you guys Rails. And I want us to start like I want to show you guys where we're going to next week, basically, in a sense. Because I'm actually really excited. But I want to let you guys mess around with this a little bit more. Yeah, Matt, I see what you're doing there, Matt. That's solid. Keep Ron. Solid. Okay, Ron, I see you're doing something similar. Solid. Okay. So yeah, Ron, I want you to figure out, go ahead and scroll up a little bit in the terminal. Yeah. So I want you to figure out how can you print out each episode. The first thing you should do is figure out how are you going to just get to the array of episodes. Like that's the first thing you need to do. After you figure out how to get to the array of episodes, then you can figure out how are you going to loop through each episode and print it out. Print out that basically that array of episodes and print it out like one by one. Solid. You found the episodes. And so now how are you going to loop through that to print it all out? Hey Matt, you're really close. What's the purpose of the condition? You don't need to answer, but to me, I'm wondering in my head like what is the condition here for? Do you know what name is? And if you don't, all rhetorical. If you don't know what name is, then I'd say just print out what name is to see what it is.
Hmm.
So Ron, you're close.
That is so strange.
You're close, Ron, but my hint to you is how do you first get to the episode? That's this line right here. Yeah. So that episode array, basically, that's this. With that being said, do you need to loop through all of the data, or do you need to loop through specifically the array of episodes? You don't need to answer, but yeah, that's what I'm asking. Close. So basically, I guess what I'm trying to get at is technically this right here, this data square episode or brackets episode, that's technically the array of episodes. So basically, you need to put this right here, right there. So basically, you need to loop through that. By that, I mean you need to loop through this. So you can leave that there and just right here, you can uncomment this line and just put data square brackets episode dot each do. Solid, try that out. There you go. So basically what you did was you first found where are the episodes at. Once you found that, now you could just loop through that because technically this thing is an array. So you could just loop through that and print it out. Really cool. Hey Matt, why did you delete the pipes and stuff? Okay,
I'm not too sure.
I got you. So with the each loop, we need that. Basically, we need it to keep track of like each time it loops through, we need to give that thing a value, basically, like each index in the array technically. So what
Okay.
is name?
It will
And
be for this one.
why don't you print it
That's what I
out?
thought.
I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Why don't you print it out and let's check it.
Oh, I did it. This is what it did.
So data at results. Could you do it one more time? Could you put its name one more time here? I want to see it. I feel like it should be something else. Okay, there we go. This is what I was expecting. So technically data at results is going to give you this hash, all these hashes. So now with that in mind, how can you get the name? Like how can you print that out? I want you to print out each name, for example. Oh wait, it
Yeah,
is.
it's doubling the.
Why is it? Oh, it's because you're doing PP data right there.
Oh,
Yeah, comment that out. I was like, wait, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, try running it again.
oh, okay.
Okay. So now how would you get the name?
It'd
And by
be
name, I'm not saying this. How would you get this name, like Sparrow and all that stuff? So I get where you're going with that, and you're not technically wrong. However, it's just confusing because you name this name. Change this to result. Change that to result or something. Basically anything else. Okay, cool. So now something is technically each of these hashes. So with that in mind, how are you going to grab name out of something? You're right there. You just need to add like one word somewhere in there.
um
me put it to you this way. If I gave you that URL right there on your screen,
Mhm.
how are you going to print out the name?
Oh, it would be this then.
Try it out.
Okay.
Okay. So, because I think you were getting confused between the variable name that you originally had there
Mhm.
and that stuff basically. So yeah, so that's what I was asking there. Because technically, yeah, that's what we needed.
Mm.
Does that make
And then
sense?
I'll yes. And then it would be hmm,
What were you saying that? Sorry.
um would it be like this Pokemon is and then like this?
Mm-hmm. So you have to use double quotes. You
Oh,
cannot
okay.
interpolate, I think, unless it's double quotes. Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There you go. Now we see this index highlighting.
Do I also have tag quotes here?
No, 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 no. No.
Okay.
Or you're gonna have to actually kind of. So how do you get the name again? I guess is my question to you. You did it on 15, right? So with that being said, you need to do the same thing.
Mm,
I'm gonna let you figure that out. You can do it.
hmm.
How did you do it on 15? And yeah, I just want you to do the same thing.
So hmm, I don't think that's right.
Don't
Or
overthink it.
wait, would it be this? No, no, I don't think so. Uh, mm, hmm.
You're right there, Matt. What did you do on line 15? Whatever you did on line 15 to print out the name, I want you to put that and interpolate that into the Pokemon is that string.
So oh, no. Oh my goodness.
All good. I'm gonna let you mess around with this for a little bit before we move on.
Thank you.
You got it. You got it. I promise you got it. If you need to, you can look it up. Not opposed to that. How do you interpolate something? Why don't you put something in there instead of name? Put something there, then print it out. Run this code. Okay. So we can see something is that whole array. I mean that whole hash. You're overthinking you're overthinking it, I swear. What are you doing on line 15 that you're doing different on line 16? Bam. There you go, Matt.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought it was something else.
You're good. Give me 1 second, guys, and then we are going to continue. All right. Okay. Are you guys good to stop sharing your screen? And we're gonna get into some Rails stuff. I want to show you guys some cool things. I'm gonna share my screen. Let's do this. Okay. I did this once before for you guys, and I'm gonna do it again. Let's go to one of my other. I didn't mean to do that, but it's okay. Desktop, CSG. Not that one. Let's go to pilot. Yeah, here we go. Which one would be a good one? Let's go to. Is that one that I did last time? Yeah, let's do that one. Okay. So this right here is an API. This Rails, this is the code that this is the application, I guess. This is an API. And so I want to show you guys something. So I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to turn it on by doing Rails server. Actually, I have another server on already. I forgot. Where is it at? It's here, here. Go back here. Where's it at? This one. All right, Rails S. All right, solid. Okay. So this is an API. And just to show you guys, I'm going to make a request to it. So I'm going to make a request to http://localhost3000/landmarks. I think that's the route. Let me verify that. Oh no, it's API v1 landmarks. Okay. API v1/landmarks. If I run this code, we see here's a bunch of data. We see it's an array that there's an ID. Here's the first one, ID of 1. Here's the second one, ID of 2. Here's the third one. It's a bunch of landmarks, basically. So what we're going to be building next week is we're going to be building APIs so that way we can basically, I guess, store some data, handle requests, and different things like that. And actually, I've had this note on one of the reasons I really like APIs, and let me share it with you guys real quick. So the reason we use APIs is there's kind of these three things right here. I want to share with you guys. So we use APIs for a lot of different reasons, but I think that these three reasons are pretty good. Reusability, standardization, and security. So for reusability, it's like companies or services can share their data, like weather, stock information, location information, without exposing their entire code base, all of their code basically. So for example, let's say for whatever reason, my company dealt with all the different landmarks here in Guam. I wanted to give the world a way to have access to the different landmarks. They cannot edit them, but they can view them. And the way that they can do that is by making a request to this URL. Technically, this is local to my computer, so if you guys were to attempt to try this out right now, this would fail. Localhost is basically when you run a server on your computer, it's going to be localhost something. Localhost, and this is a port. This is the port that it's running on my computer technically. And so that's the idea with reusability. I could just share a company, theoretically, if this was online, this link, and then they could basically get a bunch of the data. And sometimes that's really important. Like you wanted to get data about specific things, and that's why you can use their specific API. Like a lot of different places, the WhatsApp has an API. What's it called? Like I want to say almost anything that you can think of, there's an API. Whether or not there's a public one, that's the question, but there's an API. Standardization, this is a huge thing right here. So by using HTTP requests, so that's the type of request. HTTP is technically the protocol. We'll go into a little bit more detail of that, but we're not going to dig too deep in HTTP during this class. But basically, by making a HTTP request and receiving some JSON or other formats, but most of the time it's going to be JSON, many different languages and frameworks can speak the same language per se. And so what I mean by that is it wouldn't, so the APIs that we're pinging, so for example, we did like this JSON placeholder. You guys also did like the Pokemon one or that Rick and Morty one. More than likely, those APIs are not in Ruby on Rails. They're not using Ruby. They're not like this, like what I created. It's possible that they are, but I want to say there's a really, really good chance that they might be using Python or Java or some other language. However, because we have this standardization with regards to how an API works, anybody in any language can make an API request there. And technically, they're all going to be able to speak the same language per se. This is a really big concept right here because an API can be written in almost any language. Like I could have wrote big, or I'm sorry, I could have created this API with Python and Flask. I could have created it with Java and Spring Boot. I could have created it with JavaScript and Node.js, Express.js. I could have created in so many different languages. However, I like Rails. I like Ruby on Rails. That's why I use it. I think it's really beginner friendly. For that reason, I use it Ruby on Rails. However, it wouldn't matter who is making the request in what language. It's still, I'm returning JSON. That's kind of that standard. And so that's the idea with making an API request with HTTP and also the idea with JSON. Finally, the last kind of reason here that we'll go through is security. So instead of giving direct database access, an API only allows specific request like a controlled gateway. So the idea with this is if I wanted to make specific information available to everybody, I can. I can make, okay, cool. Everybody can have access to the landmarks that I deem as public. There's some landmarks here that I'm like, that's really kind of sensitive. I don't really want to give them access to the ones on base. Like on the ones on base, like those are special. I'm not going to give them access to that. So to do that, I'm basically in my API, I'm going to have some logic that's going to exclude those for whatever reason. I'm just giving some random example. But the point I'm trying to make is for security, I can limit what people have access to. And we're not just giving them direct access to my database. So like the computer that stores all of my data, no one can just ping that like and just get all the data. You have to go through my API and get authenticated first. If it's the public section, yes, then anybody can make a request, kind of like what we just did there. But for the stuff that I want to be secure, I can secure it. So that way only I could do it, or only specific people that I want to can do it, etc. And so these is kind of three important things with why we use APIs, which I'll share with you guys here. Questions, comments about the idea of an API or anything like that? Okay. Well, if you guys have questions, let me know. This is just, yes, Junior.
So with the APIs, so you send the request and then you get the information back if it's allowed, right? And you're saying something like, you can keep things secured on your computer. Um, is that like, are computers set up as default to not release information? Like, I guess this kind of gets into like all my thoughts, like people hacking into computers and everything like that. Like, how do I know like if someone gets access to my computer, like Bluetooth or public Wi-Fi or whatnot? Is my computer like set up to say no, you can't access it, or is there something,
So,
or
uh,
am I thinking something else
no,
here?
no, no. I think you have a very valid question. And I think I'm thinking of your question in different ways. So I guess, and what I mean by that is technically, so this API here that I have running on my computer, there's a database in my computer that basically like that stores all of this data. It isn't just public. Like no one, if they don't know what they're doing, can just come to this computer and get this information. Like to get it, I would go into something called Rails console, for example. This is one way I could do it. And then this is a landmark. So I can go landmark. So this is a landmark class. So if I go landmark.all, now here's all of the landmarks in my database. Somebody theoretically could come here and if they get access to my inside my computer and they could, sure, I guess if they know what to look for, they could find it, I'm sure. However, by default, these things online, like if I was to put this landmarks API right here, this Guam landmarks API online, it's gonna have by default, it's there are different things that are gonna protect your data by default, unless you're like, hey, no, I'm gonna allow anybody to do it. Specifically in Rails, we have this thing called cores. And actually this cores isn't something specific to Rails, but no, actually this isn't something specific to Rails. But we have this thing called cores. Cores stands for cross origin resource sharing. So that's what cores stands for. And so the idea with this cores thing is I'm only going to allow a request from a specific URL. So if the request isn't coming from this URL, you're not allowed to. By default, Rails has this set up. And I'm sure most frameworks do, where it's like you're not just going to allow anybody to do it because you want it to be safe. And this is one kind of layer to that protection. If someone was to get to your computer, I guess, yeah, if someone was to like know your password, how to get on your computer, sure. I'm like in the same way that someone could go through your files. If they know what to look for, yeah, they can get it. But by default, like if we're talking about data in a database, by default, it is somewhat protected. Not somewhat, it's protected. You have to know what you're doing and you'll have to like, yeah, it's not going to be just straightforward, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, no, great question. Solid question. And so then actually, I'm not gonna have, I was thinking about having you guys create a simple Rails application today. Um, what time is it? 8:50. Wait, I want to show you guys. Wait. Okay, so let's see. I was gonna show you guys some stuff. Actually, here, I'll show you Ron, because Ron was asking about this before. Let me do this. Exit Rails S. So most APIs, kind of like I mentioned to you, Ron, they kind of have this. So technically, here, let's just show you it first. Localhost 3000 slash API v1 landmarks. So here's all of, basically I made the request. By default, when you go to any URL, you're technically making a request. It's just whether or not that request is returning HTML, which is HTML is like the language that you see to display the web page, like to display the picture, or is it returning JSON? So technically, when someone makes a request to this URL right here, right now on my computer, it's returning JSON, which is why when I go to this URL, I see JSON. Most URLs are displaying HTML by default. However, yeah, whatever. So we can get to that later. And so with that being said, um, if I go to /1, so now I just wanted to show you, Ron, that this is what I meant by this is what most APIs are like they have some object. By some object, if I go to my code for a landmark. So this is a class landmark. Rails creates this for us. We're going to go through what a model is later, but we can basically think these are the different objects that we created, like person, all that different stuff. This is a landmark. I just didn't have to do the initialize and all that stuff because Rails takes care of that for us. And so with that being said, it's going to be like some object /1 or /2 /3, whatever. And these are just numbers in my database. These are the IDs of these specific landmarks, which is actually pretty cool. So I can literally just go here. And there are some websites that do this. I think like Stack Overflow, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember which ones have their stuff open. So if I go to a specific, let me go to a specific question. Yeah, questions. I think I can do like let's go like 100. Yeah, there you go. So I can see go to this is 85. If I go to try like 1099. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So there isn't a question for 1099, but basically this is the way that a lot of websites are. If you see their URL, it's like it's some object, which theirs is a question, and then it's going to be an ID. And then right now there's more than likely in their database, they had a 1099, but for whatever reason, they don't have it anymore. It'd be like the same, it just basically they deleted it for whatever reason. And so I would just have to find a number in their database that is valid. I don't know, like whatever, like 888. Okay, cool. 888 is a valid number. So we can see we found it, and so it's kind of just like a numbers game at this point. But we can see that like this is the way the internet works, I guess is what I'm trying to show you guys. And I think it's really cool because it's like a lot of the internet, a lot of applications are built with this concept of object-oriented programming. So we have like some object, and then from there it's just like, how are we gonna display that to the user? I don't know. There's like different concepts that I was kind of saying there, but I just thought this is like literally how it works, like how the internet works. A lot of it, not all of it, but how a lot of it works. And I just think that's kind of cool. Okay. Questions about this idea, I guess. I don't know. Kind of okay. Cool. Last thing that I want to have you guys do just to get ahead of the game. So I want everybody here to run this command. Gem install Rails. So I want everyone here to run this command. You don't have to share your screen. You'll only have to share your screen if it fails. Because then if it fails, then we're gonna figure out why. But basically, this is we're using something called, so a lot of languages have what we call a framework. So Ruby is the language. Ruby on Rails, like the Rails part of Ruby on Rails is the framework. And so the idea with a framework is it's like, I'm gonna make this code, I'm gonna build this, I guess, kind of a blueprint that people can use to create applications really fast. We technically do not need Rails. We could create everything in here, we could have like created by ourselves. However, the really, really cool thing about Rails is that it allowed us to write Ruby, the language that we're used to, and it did a lot of the setup for us to create an application. And so that's kind of the idea with a framework, is it's this like code that is built upon some language to help you do something. A lot of times it's to help you create an application. So for example, for Python, the different frameworks that you could use are like Flask or Django or stuff like that. For Ruby, it's the main one is Rails. For JavaScript, it's like Express, or there's other things, etc. And so Rails, again, just to give you guys a high level of it, that's the framework that's built upon Ruby to help us to build an application really fast. Because if we were to try to build an application with plain Ruby by ourselves, it would take a lot of time, a lot of extra time, versus Rails kind of makes it really, really easy. And I want to say it makes it to the point that like any of you right now, if I was to give you like step by step, or like any of you guys could do it in like minutes rather than it taking hours or days to do, which is like just amazing. That's the really cool thing about frameworks. That's the idea with them. And so the last thing that we're going to do is I'm going to pull up our resources. So I'm going to go to resources for you guys' class. And I'm going to go to computer setup. And then everybody could just use the Mac one, even if you're on Windows. And then we see right here, guide install Rails on Mac. And so we just did that, gem install Rails. After that, I want you to run Rails space dash V. And this is the command to just verify that Rails installed properly. Yes, Matt. Did it fail?
Mine failed.
I got you. See it. Just share your screen. Let me see it.
And then it shows these.
Okay, do sudo space and the same thing basically. Sudo gem install Rails. And then it's gonna ask you for your password. Solid. Okay, cool. It's working. So it seems like whenever you install something, you need to do sudo. So sudo, it doesn't stand for super user, but basically it's like, oh, we got another issue. But basically, if you're, it's like I'm a super user. I have access to almost anything, and that's why it asks you for your password. Could you send me that error? Like just like copy and paste it and send it to me. So the last thing that I guess we're gonna go through is for you guys' homework is to just look through this guide. I want you guys to look through this guide, and if you have time, I'm gonna ask that you follow it. And basically, I want you guys to get up to, yeah, actually, I'd like for you guys to get up to here. You're basically gonna install Postgres. Postgres is the database that we use. And then you create the application. You can add, commit, and push it. It's optional. You create your database, run the migrations, and then start your server. And then you go to this URL. And theoretically, if it's working properly, you go to localhost 3000. Oh, mine's off. Let me turn it back on. This is what you should see. If you see this, then you've successfully created your first Rails application. Okay. All right. Matt, I'm gonna help you with this and see if we can figure this out real quick. And I'm gonna give us like 5 minutes, and then I'm just gonna wrap up, and then I'll let you guys go. Give me 1 second, guys.
Leon, I'm sorry. If it says that sudo gem install Rails, just run that.
If it says sudo gems. So for you, just try doing gem install Rails. I don't want you to have to use sudo unless you have to. Did it fail when you ran gem install Rails?
Um, it it shows like a lot of installs, but then when I did that Rails/V, it says Rails is not currently installed.
Got you. Can you
Yeah,
share?
I'll stay on queue until Matt's phone
Okay,
is
okay, okay.
good.
I got you. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, Matt, I'm gonna send you some commands. Okay, Matt, sorry. Here, try this. Do this first. I want to see you do that. Okay, let me see. And try this as well. Just run that there as well. Okay, see this. Uh, okay, Matt, go ahead and run those. And then now, and then after that, then run this. Okay. Yeah, do that source. That's fine. And then do the last one, which Ruby and Ruby dash V. Okay. Okay, now try doing gem install Rails now. I want to see if it's gonna work. Or is it gonna give you that same error? Solid. Okay, cool. We're good to go. Yeah, so you can go ahead and take a look at that guide now. All right, Junior, you're good to share your screen now.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Mm, mm, mm. Okay, so Junior, I think for you, all you need to do is close this window out and reopen it. I think it's just your terminal needs to be restarted. Yeah, so go ahead and try doing that. You can try closing that, that's fine. And then reopen the terminal again. Okay, do Rails space dash V. If this doesn't work, then we're just gonna restart VS Code. All right, cool. There you go. Yeah, you're good to go. So for you, so there wasn't any errors. So that's where I was like, I'm pretty sure it's there. It just needed to restart to kind of take effect.
Cool.
Solid. Ron, is yours good to go, Ron?
Yeah, I'm currently on step two,
Oh, you already
number
started.
one.
Solid. So you're installing
Yeah, post. What is this? Post. Yeah, that one
PostgreSQL.
using Homebrew.
Got you. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay. Yeah. So perfect. So that's basically your what that step is if we're installing a database. It's a yeah, PostgreSQL is a popular database for Rails applications, blah 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 blah. All right, cool. Okay, so I guess we're good to start wrapping up. I don't want to keep you, I don't need to keep you guys longer for that. That'll be, you guys can look through that over the weekend. It's just doing this over the weekend is going to save us time come Monday. Like come Monday, we won't have to worry about you guys doing this setup, which will be nice. There's still going to be like Adrian and Kiko will probably still have to do it. I'll tell them to do it as well, but if they don't get to it, yeah. While they're doing that, you guys can be doing other things basically. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap it up then. I'll put like actual, I'll write that, hey, like homework is to just look through the guide. As you have time, go ahead and follow it. And you should get to where it says that red loading screen, basically red and white. But yeah, thank you guys for being here. I'll hang out for a little if you guys have any questions. Reminder tomorrow, Lana's doing office hours at 3 o'clock. So take advantage of that if you guys have questions or anything like that. And yeah, let me know or let Lana know if that time doesn't work with you. But yeah, other than that, thank you guys for being here and you guys have a great night. Congrats. We're officially kind of done with Ruby and we're moving on to Rails. So it's really cool actually. So I think that's really like get a drink, I don't know, whatever soda, whatever you guys do, give yourselves congratulations and let's continue. I'm excited. All right. You guys have a great weekend and a great night.
Hey, solid guys. See you next week.
All right.
Right on. Good stuff, everybody. Have a safe weekend. Schultz.
Dudes.
Bye, everyone.